speak about the vase, one would be talking about oneness. This would be confusing. Question. If oneness and the vase were identical, those would be the faults. But if they are different, where is the fault? Answer. If oneness were different from the vase would be that which is not oneness, i.e. it would be multiple, anicca. If the vase were different from oneness would be everything that is not the vase. If the vase, united with oneness, is called one, why is oneness, united with the vase, not called vase? This is why we cannot say that the vase is different from oneness. Question. It is because it is united with the number one that the vase is one. But oneness does not make the vase. Answer. Numbers begin with oneness. Oneness is different from the vase. That is why the vase is not oneness. Since oneness does not exist, plurality does not exist either. Why? Because oneness precedes plurality. Thus the difference or the identity between the vase and oneness cannot be established. In both cases, if we look for a dharma oneness, we cannot find it, and since we cannot find it, how could it be included in the list of aggregates, elements, and bases of consciousness? Only so as to conform with current usage do the disciples of the Buddha speak of oneness, but their minds do not truly cling to it. They know that the Dharma number has a conventional existence. This is why, when the Buddhist texts talk about a man, a teacher, a time, they do not fall into the error of wrong views. We have explained in brief the meaning of akasmin. Some. Let us now speak about some. Question. In India, there are two words to designate time, kialo, kala, and san-mo-yet, samaya. Why does the Buddha say samaya and not kala? Answer. If he said kala, there would be uncertainty. Question. For ease of elocution, he ought to have said kala, because kala has only 2 syllables whereas samaya has 3 and is harder to pronounce. Answer. -1. It is in order to avoid wrong views that he said samaya and not kala. Indeed, some say that all beings in heaven and earth have kala as cause. Thus some stanzas in the Cheking Kala Sutra say, time passes and beings ripen, time passes and beings grow, time can understand men. That is why time is cause. The universe is like the wheel of a chariot, time revolves like the turning wheel, man also is like the chariot wheel. Sometimes above, sometimes below. 2. Furthermore, some say, even if all beings in heaven and on earth and all substances are not created by time, nevertheless time is immutable, that is why it truly exists. But as the Dharma time is subtle, it is invisible, and unknowable, it is by its effects, flowers, fruits, etc. that its existence may be known and its characteristics may be seen. Such as the past year or present year, long ago or recently, slowly or quickly. Although time is not seen, it is possible to know its existence. For it is by seeing the effect that one knows the existence of the cause. That is why a Dharma time exists, and as this Dharma time is immutable, it is eternal. Answer. Present time is like a ball of clay, past time like the dust of the earth, and future time like the vase. Since time is eternal, the past does not make the future, for according to your texts, time is a single substance. This is why the past does not make the future or the present, for they are confused with the past. In the past there is no future. That is why there is no future or present. Question. You accept that the past is comparable to the dust of the earth. If there is a past, there must necessarily be a future. That is why the Dharma time must exist necessarily. Answer. You have not understood what I have just said. The future is the vase. The past is the dust of the earth. The future does not make the past, because by falling into the characteristics of the future, it becomes future, and then why would it be called past? That is why the past does not exist. Question. Why should time not exist? There must necessarily be a time. The present has the characteristics of the present, the past has the characteristics of the past, and the future has the characteristics of the future. Answer. If the three times each had their own characteristics, they would always be present and there would be neither past nor future. If the future existed presently, it would not be called future but indeed present. That is why your thesis does not hold. Question. The past and the future do not function with the nature of the present. The past functions with the nature of the past and the future with the nature of the future. That is why there is a different time for each nature separately. Answer. If the past has passed, it loses the nature of the past. If the past has not passed, it does not have the nature of the past. Why? Because its self-nature is absent. It is the same for the future. That is why the Dharma time is not real. How could it produce the beings of heaven and earth, flowers, fruits, and other substances? The Buddhist texts do not speak about kala but about samaya in order to dispel wrong views of this kind. We speak metaphorically about time with regard to birth, the elements and bases of consciousness, but there is no distinct time existing as a separate substance. Expressions such as region, time, separation, union, singleness, multiplicity, length, smallness, etc. come from convention. Fools, bala, cling to them and say that these are real dharmas. That is why mundane conventional dharmas of purely nominal existence must be excluded. Question. If time does not exist, why is it permissible to eat at the proper time and forbidden to eat at the wrong time? Those are common disciplines. Answer. I have already spoken above about these worldly and conventional dharmas. There is a time, but it is not a real dharma. You cannot object to that. Besides, the disciplines imposed by the Vinaya are true for the world without having the nature of an absolute, real dharma, for the Atman and the dharmas do not really exist. But in order to moderate the impatience of the community, in order to protect the Buddhist doctrine and ensure its longevity, in order to regulate the disciples' rituals, the Bhagavats of the triple world have set up prohibitions the subject of which one should not question whether it is true or conventional. What is associated or dissociated? What is a dharma with such and such a characteristic or without that characteristic? That is why no objection can be made there. Question. When it is a question of food at the improper time, or medicine at the proper time or robes at the proper time, the word kala is always used. Why not say samaya? Answer. Lay people do not understand the expression in the Vinaya. How then could the heretics understand it? They would take up wrong views. Everybody understands the expression samaya in the other texts. Therefore by saying samaya, they are prevented from producing wrong views. Samaya is a contrived word, kala likewise is a metaphorical expression. Prajanapti. Besides, in the Buddhist texts, the word samaya is often used and rarely the word kala. Since its use is rare, no objection can be made. The meaning of the 5 words of Amaya Sruta Akasmansam has thus been explained in brief. End chapter 2.